Hi, thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is gonna be a wrap-up video on all the books that I got read in January of 2021. The books that I mainly focused on getting read this month was all Spider-Man books. Of course, not all of my Spider-Man books, but a very good amount of them got read this month. This has been a very thorough attempt on reading all of my Spider-Man material, going all the way back to the 1960s and am now up to the later 2000s. I would say I'm on a good way to actually be finishing this off by spring. The very reason why I made this attempt on having a readathon is because I want to be certain that I want to keep all of these books and that I want to keep on reading Spider-Man, and therefore I made the promise to myself to read each and every book. Okay, so with this little montage out of the way, let's actually talk about some of these books. So let's do this. I know I skipped out on the December video, but I think it was only Spider-Man books by then also. So what we're gonna see in this video, as you could see by the intro, it's all gonna be Spider-Man books. And I'm not gonna talk about each and every book that I showed. It just would make for too long of a video, and I didn't have a strong opinion on every book. But here we go. We start off with the JMS Omnibus. So the Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2 by J. Michael Straczynski. This packs a bunch of heavy stories, actually, at least for me. I mean, we have the Evolve or Die and Civil War, which in my opinion is the best Civil War out of all the tie-ins, better than the actual main event, because seeing it from Spider-Man's or Peter's perspective is, I think, the one that has the most value, because he at one time or the other he has stood on either Tony's side or Cap's side on the front lines. And yeah, because he is one of the people and everything, and the most influential superhero there is in Marvel Universe. And yeah, so this packs up quite a few issues. This is about 30 issues, maybe more, close to 40. And then of course there's the artwork by Mike Deodato, and of course Joe Quesada, when we come to One More Day. Then this book, this is the Civil War Spider-Man Deluxe hardcover. I read as a sort of a companion piece with the J. Michael Straczynski Omnibus, because this packs the main issues from the Amazing Spider-Man, but also Sensational Spider-Man issues 28 to 34 and Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue 11 to 16, which all takes place during Civil War, of course. So we kind of flesh out the storyline in between what happens in Peter's life. And this is one of my whales as of years and years back, when this is still heavily out of print. This has never gotten a second printing, but this is one of those books that I hunted down and probably never letting go, actually, after going through that. The second one that same year, that was my most absolute whale, was the Infinite Crisis Omnibus, first printing, the only printing by then, and now we have 3 printings. So yeah, that's how that goes. And then after One More Day and everything that happens in the J. Mike Straczynski Volume 2 Omnibus, we of course jump into Spider-Man Brand New Day. And Brand New Day introduces the Spidey Brain Trust team, which is an amalgam of many writers. We have Joe Kelly, Mark Guggenheim, Mark Waid, Dan Slott, of course, and so much more people. I can't name them all, but this is a soft reboot, if you'd like to say, of The Amazing Spider-Man. He is single again and lives with his aunt once again. He works for the Daily Bugle, and Spider-Man is he's no one knows Peter Parker's identity anymore, and so that remains a secret, and that means everyone that he has talked to before this has even forgotten. So that's the twist. And they build up sort of a new rogues gallery within these 3 books that then will reappear in other books later on. So yeah, we're trying to make something new for the modern times Spider-Man reader. And as I've said, I am in a Spider-Man marathon, so once I got to these standard-sized hardcovers, I just read maybe 1, 2, or 3 books per day at some points. And yeah, it's just because each and every book collects about 4 to 5 issues because they're so thin. So after A Brand New Day, we start into the story arcs. Here we have Kraven's first hunt. So we get introduced to Kraven's daughter, basically. And then we have one of my favorites, which is New Ways to Die. This contains the first appearance of Anti-Venom. And it was really interesting to see how Anti-Venom actually came to be within the Spider-Man universe. And then we have Crime and Punisher. And I'm not really a Punisher fan, not when it comes to comic books, but I do love the John Bernthal Punisher Marvel Netflix series. But it's okay. We have The Amazing Spider-Man Death and Dating, which is one of the very first Spider-Man hardcovers that I actually picked up, because in the beginning I didn't know where anything would fit, and I just picked up any hardcover that would say Spider-Man on it because I thought it looked nice. And something special with this book is that you actually get the first appearance of J. Jonah Jameson Sr. And the book after that is Election Day, which is also one of my earliest pickups, which was fortunate because it lined up perfectly with Death and Dating. So when I got into Election Day and this character here, which is called Menace, which is sort of like another one from Goblin family. And yeah, the revelation on this character is revealed within this book. And I sort of wish that I'd read the Brand New Day volumes way before this, so I could have been a little more shocked. Then we have this book. This is 24/7, so Spider-Man basically, or Peter, I should say, dives into being Spider-Man 24 hours a day. It's just consumed by it because Peter Parker or Spider-Man's life is great while Peter Parker's is not. So why not do this 24/7? Then we have this volume, which is American Son. This is mostly about Harry and his relationship to his father. Now when Norman Osborn is back, and not only back, he is the head leader for the Avengers, or the Dark Avengers. And now they want their latest recruit, which is the American Son. And this book, also read, is sort of a milestone because this keeps issue number 600 amongst others. And as I said, milestone issue number 600, and within this one we get another marriage within the Marvel Universe. And I won't tell to who, but I can tell you that it's Aunt May's wedding, but I won't tell with who she is marrying if you would read this sometime. But I can assure you that it's not Doc Ock. Not again. Back to back we have The Red-Headed Stranger and The Return of the Black Cat. So, back in action, Mary Jane comes back to the Spider-Man universe, or she's always been there, but now she steps forward a little bit now when we've gotten to know a lot of other characters within this Spidey Brain Trust reboot era, and then the Return of Black Cat, which pretty much I think we haven't seen her through the whole Clone Saga and the Jameis Omnibus, but of course maybe she appeared in other titles. And then it actually builds up to a big event, or should I say a gauntlet. No, I should not, because that is so cringe. But we actually have 5 volumes here of the gauntlet, volumes 1 to 5, and it sort of works like a refueling on the villain's motivation for keep on going. And then there are some reincarnations of some classic villains within these pages. So first off, we have Electro and Sandman within volume 1, and then Rhino and Mysterio in volume 2. And these are some of the stories that I like better because I wasn't too familiar with the previous stories, because I think I read these ones in Swedish at some time, probably when I actually started getting into comic books. And I really like the Rhino issues, especially what they do with Alexei Sitstevich as we actually get to know him within these issues, and how he actually has redeemed himself with a life and a wife. And there is a new Rhino that wants to take over, and that's where it gets interesting and tragic. In volume 3 we have Vulture and Morbius, but we also have that issue that impacts on the Rhino once again. And Morbius, I don't think I ever see people using him, but here we have it, and it links back all the way to the beginning of the Brand New Day. So there is a tight team working here, trying to connect all of their story arcs in one way or another. And the volume 4 is all Juggernaut, baby. Am I gonna leave that in? Probably. Overall, good story. Don't see a lot of Juggernaut within Spider-Man, not until or before the Roger Stern Juggernaut on Who Can Stop Juggernaut issues, which is also included within this one. And the final volume for the Gauntlet is featuring the Lizard. And this is yet again another tragic tale, and they dive in a little to the psychology of Curt Connors and the problems he has now when his wife has left him, or maybe she's dead actually, I don't know where she is. But Billy, his son, is with his foster parents now, and seeing Curt Connors trying to interact with his son and try to communicate with him, but then gets declined, sort of hits hard actually. And then there are 2 more books. Shameful that I didn't got any more time to read any more books, huh? But yeah, second to last, this is The Grim Hunt, and this is actually what it has all been building up to from the beginning of the Gauntlet, because I won't say who, but you work up to this story arc, and I guess you can sort of guess which character returns within this book. But there's so much more than that within it. A twist or 2, I would say. And then last but not least, for the month of January, when it comes to the Spider-Man books, One Moment in Time. And if you were not a fan of One More Day, you should probably just skip these issues, because if One More Day left a wound, this is Marvel peeling on the scab on that wound. It goes over how the events of One More Day actually affected the marriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. Not that it just wasn't snapped away, but how it actually changed the course of history. So they go back all the way back to that annual issue where they actually get married, but then twist on some happenings within that storyline. I guess you can take or leave this as it is. If you weren't a fan of One More Day, maybe skip this one, but for me this was actually just another Spider-Man book. So those are all the books that I read for January, and it's not sponsored, but if you'd like to, you can add me as a friend on Goodreads. I recently started using Goodreads, and it is really good actually to keep tabs on my process. I've always used lists, but I always use pen and paper for that. But it's really nice to see your progress through the year on how many books you actually get to read and how much time it actually takes you. So right now they have a challenge program also, which I think they always had, but I set a goal for me to have read 150 books this year. And so far, with 21 books read, I'm on a good way. And maybe I should have set a higher goal. But if you dare call me a liar and say that I can't read all of these books in 1 month, go follow me so you can see my progress month to month on me reading books. And of course, I'll throw a little review out there. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, because I really love making this content for you. And therefore I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye bye.